Seems like the transmission wants to move. Bad news is we should be in park right now. Well, I spent all week, you know, after work, laying on my back underneath the Jeep, underneath this wagon here. We got the new transmission, back in place with the original transfer case. We put in a new filter, and we should be good to go. Went ahead and welded in a removable drain plug in that transmission. And while I had it back in here, I decided I can't do the Carolina squat. So I knew that the rear end was going to be 1.5 inches, 2 inches low. We're doing a spring over. So I unbolted the axle because the spring perches weren't welded on anyways. Pulled it out. We're going to clean up any goober welds on here, get it ready to go. We'll slip the axle underneath the leaf springs onto the spring perches. That's a little bit warm, like someone's been grinding on it. So the axle will go underneath here, and then you gain the lift equivalent of the thickness of your spring pad plus the height of your axle tube. That's a 3-inch axle tube. That's close to a 3-inch lift. That's 6 inches of lift. That might be excessive. What I'm saying is that we might slap this all up underneath in here, put it down on its under its own weight, and then take it back out again. We'll just have to see how it looks. I am a bigger fan of the what do you call it? The stink bug look than I am of the Carolina squat. So if I have to go a little stink bug, I can live with that. If we have to go a lot stink bug, we'll have to think about that, and I'll have to rely on some of your guys' opinion. So yeah, I'm just going to keep cleaning up this axle tube. I got my grinders here, got some raised welding and some other stuff to clean off. We have to move the shock mount to the front of this axle on this side to match up with the existing shock mount on the frame. Just little things. We'll get this, let me get this cleaned up, and we'll get this ready to go underneath here. So I probably won't make you guys watch that. I won't even put that on. Maybe I'll put it in a time lapse. I don't know. I'll think about it. What do you guys think? That's some serious stink bug style action right there. That front end is, well, we do the math. I have a 103-ish inch wheelbase. 103-inch wheelbase. You do the you do some math, right? So a little bit of trigonometry. Well, there we go. A little trigonometry. Basically, each degree that we're off from level is worth about 1.8 inches. And we are, depending on my calibrated cell phone there, call it 3 degrees off. So that puts us to 1.8 times 3. So that's, hold on. Yeah, 5.4 inches higher in the rear than we are in the front. That's a lot of inches, I mean. Okay. This is about a 30-inch tire. That's about a 28-inch tire. If I go to the same size tire, that's going to give me take up an inch difference, right? So yeah, same size tire, I'll go an inch higher in the front. That gets me down to 4.8 inches. That's still a lot. I've got a 5-inch long shackle in the front. From eye to eye is 5 inches. Eye to eye is 6 inches. Swap them front to back, double it and multiply it by 2, blah, blah, blah. That's another inch. That gets me to 3.8 inches. That's still 4 inches higher in the back than we are on the front. We could also adjust this a little bit even and go even a little bit shorter in the back, but not too much. Then when we start to mess with our, we'd start losing our articulation or the actual just a spring extension and compression under operation. So 4 inches is about as low as we would go. That'd give me another 1/2 inch. So we're down to 3.5 inches taller in the rear than the front by going with the spring over. I'm not mad about what I did today. I had to pull the axle out, or I could have done all on my, or do all the work on my back, grinding, cleaning, getting it ready to go back in. Or I pulled it out. It's not a big deal. I pulled it out, dropped it on here. We'll look at it. I wouldn't mind it being that tall, but to keep it that tall, we would have to go spring over in the front. And that entails a lot more work. We have to deal with steering linkages, steering arms. That when you go spring over, your leaf spring wants to live right here where your track bar, what is that bar called, guys? Your pitman arm. It wants to go right here, and so you got to go with some high steer arms to move that up. That means a specifically machined knuckle. That's a lot more work. It's a lot more expense. It's also a known failure point. Where does that leave us? That probably leaves us with going back to spring under on the rear axle. Probably leaves us with maybe even buying some new lift springs for the rear end. Those springs I have, I suspect they're lift springs. I don't even know what they are. There's ones I had laying around from one of my projects, other project vehicles that I accumulated over the years. So maybe I should just get some lift springs for the rear. That probably makes a lot of sense. It's not that expensive, and it would probably work out fairly well. Or I just run the Carolina squat for a while, you know, because it's what all the cool kids are doing now. It's not totally my style, but it's what the cool kids are doing. Who am I to gainsay what's cool or what's not? I mean, you see the guys with the skinny little rubber bands and the tires sticking way out to the side of their trucks, flying down the freeway at 90 miles an hour with all the rock lights and just glowing like a UFO and aliens from outer space. I mean, they're going to suck you right up. That's all right. Who am I to say that that's not the right thing to do? Okay. It's not the right thing to do. Don't do that, guys. Come on. Just be reasonable. Where are we at? Well, we're in a good spot. I've nearly fixed all of my mess ups, right? I've got the transmission back in there. I don't know if it's good yet. I have to fill it with fluid, connect the transcooler, replace the U-joint on the drive shaft, and that's just about it. And then I'll have fixed that devastation to my to my transmission. So, you know, we'll have repaired or replaced, and so we'll be good to go on the transmission. That's in good shape. I've got a couple of boxes here from Rock Auto with some shock absorbers to go on here, so I can get new shock absorbers instead of, you know, the original rear shocks to the front and whatever I have laying around for the rear. That's a good sign. I've got the shock mount moved to the proper location for this application on this axle. And we're in good shape. We're cruising right along. But I think, like I said, I just don't think we're going to be able to get it out the right way, right? We'd be able to, what'd I say, about 2 inches difference, just over a degree. I've got an idea. Let me try to mock something up real quick. All right, I'm trying to listen to what this Jeep is trying to tell me. So I just threw my floor jack under the front axle, jacked it up a couple of inches. Basically, we're at 2 degrees right there on the angle. Then I take this step back, and what do I think? It's still a stink bug, and it would look different with the new tires on there. Those tires would fill out that fender well a little bit. Let me know what you guys think. I have to admit, spring overs are way easier to install and remove an axle than spring unders. It's just so much faster and easier. We're getting just inestimably slightly closer on this project. I've got tires, I've got wheels, they're the right bolt pattern. Here's the problem, the offset's wrong. They tuck it in too close to my tie rod. On the passenger side, they're hitting. So what's our options? Well, different tires or different wheels, yeah, that's an option. I'm going with wheel spacers. Realistically, if you do the free body diagram, you do the engineering analysis, if you're running the same width of tire, there's no difference to your core lug nuts or your or any of your bearings on whether you use spacers or you use an offset wheel. It still changes your leverage by the exact same amount. So the problem with spacers is if you don't get them torqued down sufficiently and if they come loose. Well, you have the same problem with wheels. You have 6 lug nuts on both, right? You have 6 lug nuts on the spacers. You have 6 lug nuts on the wheels. So what are we doing? We're going to go ahead and we're going to use wheel spacers. I'm pretty comfortable with that decision. I just cleaned up. We'll put a little bit of spray paint on that rusty old rim. I hit it with the wire brush, knocked it off. That brake disc. Whoop. There we go. Yeah, I could have just cleaned it up. But yeah, we'll throw a wheel spacer. I've already put them on the back. They bolted right up. They'll work out just fine. Now, one of the effects of going to this wheel spacer is we're changing the thread pitch on our lug nuts. You can't get wheel spacers with a 7/16 inch thread. Well, you can, but they're about twice the cost, maybe even 3 times the cost of just a standard spacer. So these spacers are designed for Toyota Tacoma. Gives me a 12 by 1.5 spacer, or excuse me, thread pitch from 7/16 by, well, what is the pitch on the 7/16? I'd have to look it up. Well, I can't do this with my left hand. I'm ineffective. There we go. All right, there we go. Got the correct open lug nuts on there. We should be able to get this tire on here, get it torqued down, get everything functioning the way it's supposed to. And that's the way it's supposed to be. Plenty of clearance for my tie rod. Plenty of clearance for my brake lines. Lug nuts installed. We're good to go. One more tire to go. And then, well, we'll be that much closer. We're making pretty good progress on this Jeep. I got the transmission in. It's mostly all buttoned up. Here's the deal though. I've got a B&M cable shifter in there that I've been controlling that 700 R4 with for years. And it's a fine apparatus. No complaints with as far as how it's operated, and it's been very, very functional, very stable, very sturdy. It's been working fine. I don't like it. I don't like how much room it takes up on the floorboards in the cab. It doesn't fit, right? All that big shiny blingy aluminum. It just doesn't fit me and this Jeep. So what I want to do is I want to go off of the column shifter, right? I went ahead and I put this tilt column in. It has a perfectly good column shifter. There's no reason why I can't make that work, is there? Can you guys think of a reason? I can't think of a reason. So here's the deal though. Frame widths are different. It's a different vehicle. I had to chop up and splice up this steering column to get it to fit only a little bit, but I had to do a little customization. This is my shift linkage coming out of the steering column. It connects to this push rod, which goes down. Right now, just floating in space. It's going to go down to right there. So as you shift down, that linkage moves down and to the back. Moving down to the back, that linkage connects to this linkage. This is just basically it's just a pivoting transfer. This end goes into the frame rail. That linkage comes into here, shifts down into the back. When that happens, it pivots that end, and that's going to shift the transmission. It's a pretty clever little linkage. I think we have, well, if we want to use this style of linkage, we've got to make some modifications. So here's the deal. This thing here from Yoinks, let's look at this. From the center of here to my shift linkage, my arm right there, I'm at 13 inches, okay? Now, to where the frame rail is, I'm at about, let's call that 15.5 inches. There's a mosquito in here. 15.5 inches. I only have 8 inches, 8.5 inches. So here's what we have to do. If I line this up, I did some computer cardboard aided drafting here and drew some lines. And these are important, so you check it out. We have, you know, that's a little off scale. That's the center line. That's the first arc bend. Then we have this transfer. Then this straight piece. This welded on tab with a spring and a captured bushing, right? And so that's this right here. It comes in, goes down and over, spring into the frame. I have to end right here at 8.5 inches, which means that this spring and this arm, oh man, that's a horrible place to put my arm. It's right there on the Packaging Seal Association Corporation of America. That'll never work. So if we line this up, that puts this spring and this arm in this bend. We're going to put this in the torch, put this in the vise, use a torch, bend that out so that we get to this angle straight right here. Then from here, we will bend it straight again, and that will get us to where we need to be. We'll cut all this off, slide that up, weld it on, and let's see, we'll actually do a little bit more measurement because we're going to end up welding this on basically right at that bend is what that looks like to me. That should allow us to get this thing installed in this Jeep and function as intended. I think that we can do this. I think we have the technology, guys. So I like that. I made an error. I bent on the wrong side of the line. I need to straighten this back out again and rebend it. It's all right. We'll get it done. Small problems. Perfect? Nope. Pretty good? I think that's going to work. You know what? I think we have really close to a winner. I might fine tune it a little bit more, but we have column shifters. We can go from park to reverse, neutral, drive, 3, 2, 1. So that means we have column shifter. I'm going to go ahead and pull the B&M shifter out of there. Hey guys, we're back in the shop again today. We're about to try to test drive this wagon and test out that junkyard transmission I picked up. We'll find out if it's going to function like it should. We've got my new shift linkage so that we have the column shift. I pulled out that B&M shifter so that I can clean up the floor pan. And we're just getting ready. We're just getting ready to see if we can start this thing up and just putter it up and down the dirt driveway and see what happens. I'm cautiously optimistic. It's a good way to be, cautiously optimistic. Tell you what though, it's quite a bit more of a chore to get into this thing now. Oh, that thing's high off the ground. I might have to, we might have to address that. It might be too tall. Is there such a thing? I don't even know. Let's see. Feels like I got brake pedal. So new brake lines. I put new soft lines on the front. I've reconnected the back. So when I pulled out the axle for the spring over, What else did we get done on this thing? Shocks all the way around. Yeah. I'm not happy with the drive shaft angle. After this test drive, I'll show you our drive shaft angle's a lot bit excessive. And our slip yoke, well, our drive shaft is, realistically, it's too short. So we got some more work to do on that side of things. But let's just see what happens. So let's turn on the fuel pump right now. So hold on. Right now, I've got a separate switch for the fuel pump. And I don't have it all integrated into the steering column yet. Hey. Well, good news. Seems like the transmission wants to move. Bad news is we should be in park right now. Cultural. This should be drive. My boys out there. This should be third gear, which is neutral. Hold on, let's try second gear, which is reverse. Hold on. First gear would then be park. Okay. I know what happened. All right, we're back underneath the Jeep. We're going to swap around this shifter linkage, get it to rotate. Right now, when you shift, it rotates the shifter clockwise. That's reverse. It needs to rotate this shifter linkage counterclockwise. So we have to move this arm, break it free, move it to the other side. It'll be easy peasy, right? It'll just take us a couple of minutes to pull this thing off of here. What is that? That's a 12 millimeter bolt right there. Cotter pin. Yep, give me a minute. All right, let me try to explain what I have going on here and what I did wrong on my shift linkage. So I've got my shift linkage here. It stabs into the transmission right here. This part attaches to the shift lever. When you pull the shift lever down, it pushes on a rod. And pushing on the rod in this configuration, each time you push down, you rotate and shift a gear. If I were to simply move this to this side, so instead of having a clock here at say 2 o'clock, move it to 10 o'clock. Now every time that I push down on it, I'm going to shift this lever, this part of the lever, counterclockwise, which is the correct direction on a 700 R4 TH350, all those transmissions that, you know, that I should have known about. That's all right. So I just got a little spot weld on there. I'm going to grind that spot weld off. We'll move this over to about 10 o'clock position, tack it, throw it in there. It doesn't have to be exact, right? It has to be horseshoes and hand grenades because there's adjustment in the shift rod levers and where they clamp into this pivoting mechanism. We just got to get it close. And while I'm at it, I might straighten this up a little bit. So here's the deal. I got this little bend in here to capture the hole going into the frame. I could probably straighten that up a little, or maybe not. I don't know. Truthfully, it doesn't matter as far as the function. It'll never get shifted enough to wear that out over decades of use. I could drive this as a daily driver and I'd probably never wear out that bushing with the misalignment that we have, but that's something to consider. Yeah, let me just go ahead and, once again, we want to go from 2 o'clock to 10 o'clock. Give me a minute here. All right, ignore the welds. They're goobers. They're horrible. It's my worst ever. Not my worst. I'm not a good welder. But let's see if we have full function of that gear shift lever. I'm afraid that we might get down too far, but we'll give it a shot. You tell me if we get all 7 clicks or so. Being park, reverse, neutral, drive, third, second, first. Okay, folks. Oh, somebody forgot to tighten it down. Well, that was embarrassing. Let's try it again. Well, that didn't work as anticipated. So let's see. Let's do this again, but this time let's snug down the bolt. So that's park. Oh. All right, let's give this a shot. See if this 1/2 inch will work in lieu of a 12mm. All right, I've got no brake lights, turn signals. The engine probably not going to be running right. The suspension could fall apart. We're not going to go very far. We're just going to go a mile or two and just kind of see how it feels. Let it tell us what it's thinking. So once again, turn on the fuel. Oh, come on. All right, now let's take my foot off the brake and see what happens. I should be in park. Okay, that feels like park. There we go, there's reverse. Neutral. Drive. I've got the power brake booster in there, but I haven't connected it yet. Because if you remember, way back when, we had that backfire issue. I don't want to backfire into my new brake booster and just blow it out. So I'm going to have to drag my driveway again. It's rough again. Yeah. Brakes are kind of more of a suggestion than anything. Did it again. Oh, come on, girl. Are you starting neutral? Let's 2-foot this thing. Doing its job. Boy, this thing wanders all over the road. I got some tuning, some work to do. I think the word is terrifying. This thing is a beast. It's a turd. I love it. We're going to get this turd polished, right? And it's going to run well. So the front end is sloppy loose. I figured it might be. I probably need to replace all my tie rod ends. That'll help. I could go ahead if I wanted to. I could put a steering stabilizer on there, especially with these bigger tires. That'll help those tie rod ends last longer. I'll probably do that. But power steering, it's powerfying, it's doing what it needs to do. The brakes, I'm going to hook up that power brake booster because, well, it needs it. I'm going to get those back brakes bled, a few other things here and there. Successful? Yeah. Lot to go, lot of work to do. This motor, it needs help, right? That stumble, that bottom end, or that low idle, that's not right. We're going to fix that. I'll probably throw some sea foam, or what do I got? I got some B12, some Barrowmans. I'll throw some Barrowmans down there and make sure that all my valves are cleaned up. But once you get into it runs good. But right there at that low end, at that bottom end, it needs some help. So we'll figure that out. And, you know, maybe we'll repower it in the near future. The list is getting longer, but we're also getting a little bit closer to being done. This project's going pretty good, guys. It's looking good, it's feeling good. I got some people grinning at me. They're either grinning at me while I was driving, or they were horrified in abject fear. Either way, that's a win. So I'm going to call that a good video. Thanks for watching, guys. Go out and work on your junk. Sure, it's not going to go exactly like you want it to. This isn't exactly what I had in my mind, but it's still pretty darn cool. Catch you on the next video. Honestly, that looks pretty darn cool, guys. I like the stance. Yeah, tons of work to do still. Oh, lots of body work, paint. We're getting closer though. Good stuff.